certainly I would prefer diplomatic settlement of this dispute. I think it can be done by the United States government engaging in good faith negotiations with Iran. Even Brent Scowcroft and Zbigniew Brzezinski have recently stated that the United States should drop its ridiculous precondition that Iran must suspend nuclear reprocessing, which is its right under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, before it would negotiate with Iran. The United Nations Charter clearly requires the peaceful settlement of international disputes and expressly requires by name negotiations. Right now there are no negotiations. Mr. Burns went over there a week ago basically with a diktat followed by an ultimatum. These are not negotiations. We need negotiations, exactly what the United States government is doing today with North Korea. Secretary Rice was just over in Singapore meeting with the foreign minister of North Korea. If we can negotiate with North Korea, that has already exploded what seems to have been a nuclear bomb, and arguably has perhaps enough materials to have created 8 or 9 bombs, certainly we can negotiate in good faith and directly with Iran that has no nuclear weapon, and indeed even the International Atomic Energy Agency has certified that Iran has not diverted any nuclear material to a nuclear weapons program. Likewise, our own national intelligence estimate by 16 U.S. intelligence agencies has stated Iran does not have a nuclear weapon and does not have one for a while. So if the United States government is not prepared to engage in reasonable, direct, unconditional, good faith negotiations with Iran, then my advice is the Iranian government go forward with these lawsuits. I've been a lawyer since January 10, 1977. And if someone isn't going to talk to you, you sue them, and then they have to talk to you. And indeed, it was during the course of the lawsuit, World Court lawsuit proceedings with Libya, that the proceedings themselves were used to start negotiating a peaceful resolution of that dispute between the lawyers handling the lawsuit, because there were no diplomatic relations at that time between the United States, Britain, and Libya. So again, the same could happen here. But we'll have to see how this proceeds in the next week, what, if any, response Iran makes to the U.S. government's, Mr. Burns' ultimatum. But if the crisis escalates, certainly it would be my advice that Iran file these lawsuits against these 3 states, ask for an emergency hearing of the court, win these 3 orders, and then try to use those orders to prevent a war. The temporary restraining order would be to prevent a military attack on Iran, to prevent any type of blockade of Iran that is called for in this House resolution currently under consideration today, to prevent the imposition of further economic sanctions by these 3 states against Iran, and also their pursuit of more sanctions against Iran at the United Nations Security Council, which Secretary Rice said she's going to start to do in September unless Iran succumbs to the diktat that Mr. Burns gave them a week ago. Well, issuing diktats and ultimata is not a way to solve international disputes. It is a way to promote an international confrontation and perhaps have it escalate into a crisis. It seems to me, if you read the Iranian position as of recently. I'm not privy to whatever document Mr. Jalili tendered in Geneva, but their previous response to the International Atomic Energy Agency, Iran indicated that although it would insist upon its rights under the NPT to engage in nuclear reprocessing on its own territory, nevertheless, it would be prepared to have that nuclear reprocessing under the auspices of an international consortium. Now, certainly that could be negotiated in such a way as to lend some degree of control of the reprocessing to the international consortium, and also the question of transparency, that everyone would know that the reprocessing there stays at a level of reactor fuel, which it currently is. Second, Iran has indicated that it would be prepared to continue to observe the IAEA safeguard agreement that it does have and has complied with. And third, Iran has indicated it would be prepared to accept the additional IAEA protocol, protocol on inspections, SNAP protocol, and a more stringent regime of inspections for its nuclear reprocessing activities. It seems to me that is a reasonable basis upon which negotiation should proceed. But if the United States government is not going to do that, then it seems to me Iran should sue them at the World Court and protect itself, and then by means of the World Court proceedings, force negotiations, which Iran can do, as Libya did before it.